Moving on, we have Ioana.
So is the tag really accessible for all? I use the shortcut for accessibility, which is rea11y, and made this cute title. I am Ioana Chiorean, and I'm from Cluj-Napoca, Romania. You see a little vampire. Bianca already spoiled the truth. We are not vampires, but I do have some really sharp tongues here, so I might do the trick sometimes and I don't know, promote it a bit better, but I'm definitely, I did took my blood, different type of blood, so you're safe here tonight, don't worry. I'm a project manager at the moment in Cognizance of Vision, but I do work with Mozilla a lot, and I do volunteer for Mozilla Community, European Commission under Code Week initiatives, Carta Dalie, which is an NGO for education and digital skills, and Women in Tech Cluj. I have experience from more than 10 years on devices, and why is that important here today is that I figure out I have accessibility issues while working on devices. This talk, lightning talk, is based on my talk at FOSDEN this February when we were traveling for conferences. You can see the full length there. I really believe that we are not really aware that we do have accessibility issues, and we categorize only the people who have major issues with accessibility in any form as disabled or you know, special person or special needs. And unfortunately, we don't realize the loss of our capabilities or skills while we navigate in this inaccessible world. And why I'm saying this, even a big conferences that has tickets with more than 1.5k euros, I'm not sure how that's in pounds, but a lot of money, had this table, and I was not able to see what I am buying. And I wrote them like, are you kidding me? I'm not seeing what packages. And they were like, I don't understand what's wrong. I was like, I cannot read with the color setting on this, what's the column. I'm not sure if you see here, the title of the columns are white on really light gray. And I could not see what package I bought, but why not? I will send the money away. So I realized that I should speak more about it because, again, we do have different spectrums of this is not disability. We just see different, we have different skills that we use more or less, and we do have preferences in terms of color, light, sound, even, and everything else. There are a lot of disabilities I mentioned here, but as it's a short presentation, I'll let you to revise them later. And my pitch today is to try to do a bit more for these categories. We are talking about robots taking over the world, but at least we should start helping these little things, tools, not robots, to help us make a better place, but a more accessible place. And here's why. First of all, for the people, because we don't consider, again, everyone disabled or anything. We should improve their life no matter what. And for example, in the case of the strollers going on sidewalks, everybody thinks that those are just for disabled people who use a wheelchair. But mother with the child or riders with the bikes also use the sidewalks too, the ramps for their own side of the walk. So even if this helper for the sidewalk was intended for a person with disability, it helped at least two other categories of people with that in mind. Second, regulation. I know people will say like, oh, but in my country, there are no regulations. Check again. Most of the countries adopted a form of the regulations. Indeed, some of the people might or may not impose it more strictly or have, you know, fees if you're not respecting. Do the follow-up. It's an agile world. They don't do follow-ups. Nobody does retrospectives on fees. But in a way or another, most of the country adopted the form of the regulation, and you should be aware of it before indeed you will have to pay the other side of the issue. Next will be the users. Most of the time we consider and just look at the users that we already have, not users that we could have. This is also a principle that I talk about in unconscious biases. We always consider those that survived. It's a really nice bias story about this. You can look it up, but we should not look only at the user we have. We should look at the user we don't have and try to see why we don't have them yet, how we lost this in this funnel, and how we can take it back if we address some of the issues that our app is missing or our product is. The same principles, and that's why I thought it's a good talk for Agile, applies also in team. Think about the ideas, what kind of idea you're missing, what are the biases in the team, that all the time take up the space for others. Fourth, the return of investment. Most of the clients will say, like, there is no money there for me. Why should that? It enhances your brand. It puts you outstanding work, and you'll be a leader in the field. Isn't that what everyone wants these days in tech? To be an innovator, to be a leader, to be a good example. You will be that, and after that, the return of money will come. Nevertheless, the last point, doing favors with versus doing your job. I come from a background of testing, and everyone says like, oh, but it's a bug. Oh no, it's a feature. It should not be a bug. It should be definitely a feature by default to be an accessible product / an accessible team, diverse, including diverse principle. So my last advice for you would be to not be the sheep, be the fox. Well, in my case, fox, because I'm a Mozillian. But take initiative, change the rules, break the stereotypes, and even if you don't have anyone, just change it for that. I believe that information should not be a privilege, and thanks for following me along this journey.
That is awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.